Hi everybody, this is Everyday Commentary, and this is a video overview of this fixed blade. And this is the Schrade SCH36. This is a knife that came out last year, and it came out to much critical acclaim on the internet, in part because it is a knife that is very similar to the Becker K-bars, in that it is, thick powder-coated 1095, and then it has these sort of contoured handles. This is a knife that hits right in the same place as the Becker knives. I think I probably still prefer the Becker handle, but the difference is very, very slight. There's a bigger knife, the SCH37, and it has a 7-inch blade. The SCH36, which is this knife and the first one that was released, it has a 5-inch blade. It's actually a little bit less than 5 inches because the knife has a very good finger choil. This was I think this was the value buy, or the best value knife from Blade Show 2015, and I really do like this knife. So think of it as a competitor to the Becker knives, but at a third the cost. This is a Chinese made knife, whereas the Beckers are USA made knives, but the materials are basically identical. And this knife cost me $36 shipped from Amazon. You can buy it at around where I live in New England. You can buy it at Dick's Sporting Goods. You can buy it at Cabela's. You can buy it at I think Bass Pro Shop might have it. But this is just a very, very well made, very inexpensive survival knife, outdoor hard use knife. I don't do a lot of survival because I have a house and I'm not I don't live out in the woods or anything. But as you can see, unlike the Beckers, instead of being a 3/16 inch thick, this is a full 1/4 inch thick piece of 1095 steel. And so the handle has 2 places. You can hold it, traditional. And if you're really in the hacking mood, you can kind of get way back here and just chop with it. And you can hold it there and get a little bit better purchase. There's a run of jimping here and a run of jimping here. And the amazing thing is, I don't know exactly why this is the case, but unless you're looking for it, you can't feel it. Like when I have my hand like here, which is right over this run of jimping, I can't feel it at all. And as you can see, I've been using this knife. My 5-year-old son said that he wanted to chop down a tree. And so we found a tree that was, thigh thick, and we chopped it down. I used this. I also got us started. I did the little Pac-Man thing with a chainsaw, because that would have taken forever. It was white oak, and it would just I would never have been able to get through it. I mean, it was just impossible. But once I got the little Pac-Man thing, I was able to do the rest of the knife, or the rest of the tree with this guy. And I've split a bunch of wood with it. It did very, very well. The one thing that I find interesting is that I'm not exactly sure you need a knife that is as big as a chopper for doing wood splitting tasks and fire tasks, because this knife is only a 4.5 inch blade, but if you're careful and you know what you're doing, you can baton pretty big pieces of wood with this, because you can, instead of going straight through the center, you can sort of go off to the side, and then once you go off to the side, you've made it shorter and you give yourself more kindling. So like if you watch the internet, you think every time you baton a piece of wood, you have to do it right through the center, but that's not true, and it gives you the ability to carry a smaller knife without really compromising on any of the performance. Sure, you're not going to be able to blast stuff away, like when I was hacking with this, I would have loved to have another 3 inches, but unless you're like really, really intent on never carrying an axe, then a knife this size can get you through a lot of the tasks that you do. If you look at the bushcrafting guys, they all insist on a 4-inch blade, and this is just 1 inch bigger than that, and I feel like it can do just about anything. And the knife came pretty darn sharp from Schrade. It's actually still pretty sharp, even though I've used this to split wood. It could easily make the curly Q shavings that you want to start a fire, and it delimbed pretty darn nicely. I think that the handle is something called TPE, which is a little rubberier than the Gravery or fiber reinforced nylon on the Becker knives, and it has this really weird swirl pattern. Let's see if I can get there. It is, but it's actually quite comfortable. It's very good, and this knife resulted in a whole series of new fixed blades coming from Schrade. And this is the first Schrade knife I've had. Schrade is an American name. It was purchased by a Japanese or a Chinese company, and now all of their knives are produced in China. And this is the first one I've had. I'm probably not gonna bother with their folders unless they get better steel. But this knife has been really good, and there are now a bunch of different fixed blades that use this same formula: 1095 powder coated thick steel. Some of them even have like really nice leather sheaths, and they're still only like $60. So this has prompted me to do some investigation. I'll probably put out a series of articles on items that are made in the United States. So be looking for that on the website. One other thing that I note is that there are very few knives that are like these big, beefy, you know, sharpened pry bar style knives that bother with the finger choil. And I have to say, I really like the finger choil on this knife. It gives you the ability to do like close-up work that you would never think you would be able to get done with a knife that's a 1/4 inch thick. As normal, I put on my blue paracord lanyard so that I can see it if it drops. And the sheath is actually not that bad. There are a couple things that I like about the sheath. First of all, it has this slant top opening, and the reason why is if you put it in wrong, you'll know. So that's the right way. If you put it in this way, it doesn't work very well. So you know, which I find to be really nice, that you put it in the wrong way. The snap is a good, firm, positive snap. And then you get this little kit here. And the kit includes a fire starter, which I have never gotten to spark. Never. Not once. Not doing anything. Now I know that fire starters typically come with a coating so they don't spark in shipping. But this one I've stripped, as you can see, I've stripped off the coating there. And I've still got no sparks out of this. The little striker is just probably a piece of 1095. And it's just not, it's not wet. I like the idea, and I will put a working fire steel in this knife when I get my, when I get a couple in, but I have one right now, but it's in a little fire starting kit. But this thing, it's a good idea, it's a piece of junk. This, on the other hand, is not a piece of junk. I was very impressed to see this. And this is just like a little diamond hone, and you can use it to sharpen the knife. And it actually works. It's quite good, it's very sturdy, and it's quite thin. Overall, I think that the accessories here were really well chosen in terms of what they are. I just, you know, I would pay $2 more for a good fire steel. But as it is right now, you're not getting nothing like that. The sheath also has a removable belt loop, or a detachable belt loop, so you can flop it around and put it on your belt. And then it includes the leg rope so that it doesn't bounce around when you're running. Overall, this is a really good sheath for a nylon sheath. It's much, much better than the Becker sheath, the K-Bar Becker sheath. And again, the whole knife is $36. So when you get a chance and you're looking for a knife to just go around and smash stuff with, this is really hard to beat. It's a good knife. It's got a great sheath. I'd still prefer Kydex, but for a nylon sheath, this is actually quite competent. And the accessories are not too bad, but the fire starter, it's a good idea in theory, but like, you know, Homer told Marge, communism works in theory, and this works only in theory. When you get a chance, take a look at it. It's the Schrade SCH36.